tua ma le au nanga remote tau sa mo service station nei tona I matu. Ma tau te utuina lo ta vale ma le tele onisi o matu au nanga ese. Ai le ngata foi le ma tau te sia ke ina fo ilo ta vale. Siapa lah yang voice wow, mau lah ucapan. Apa itu yang baik pak ulusa? Awalnya telepon, matu siapa lah yang voice mau lah ucapan. Mulu no posilah dia, mua tapi lah ucapan lebih out. Mua tapi lah telepon ni time out tu inai lah ucapan. Malah bayang mulu. Mana tua fu? Matua I fasa ina lo tau maktapa ai no fuanga papeng. Mata Samoa. Ole mata mo Samoa. Mata te fia au na pe mo o Samoa. Aftaile fia mai. We'll see you again. God bless.
O le whaamama awenga le nei ma le Pacific Isi, mo au tupe whaamumoli Samoa, au tapuni ai ofisa mo le whaawa yaso. Whaonga nei lola na wa unanga forward ta ua, o le direct transfer. A whai wa yesa membership card ma e whaonga ina le internet banking, o le matua I whaingo fia lava. Na o le tipose mai lava lau se leni mato account, o le whaatino leo la foina o lau se leni mo a inga I Samoa. E ia inga I tahu na whaamalia ina. Mo nisi whaamatalanga I le nei au unanga fo. Bala au le telefoni o valu se lau o tasi o nono po le lua fitu ono fitu iwa fitu wha. Pe text mai fo ilo suafa I le valu tolu o.
Telephone voucher is one of the most convenient ways that I'm finding now to do my shopping here at Farmer Joe, and my sister just sent through the voucher on my cell phone and I just come straight to Farmer Joe to do my shopping.
Ole si tulanga pitusili o le tau. Ole la fo me o le pepa tala o loa. Ona whaanga le whaatau ai o loa e au ngā mole ainga.
I think it's really convenient for families overseas if they don't know how to help their families here. Then this is the perfect way.
Mai ai la sa so fua tau ai le sia sa.
Le fia foi sa we mo mawina le foi au nang fo e ala mai le tala fo voucher. Ila wana whaatau ma me te mga ai ile voucher.
Tai mo le tala fo voucher ua mau le apusu se wa fine. So se paro loa fai ngo fie. A me se le tferwa I malo telefoni tai mi uma. Ai lo la fo mer cash ona ino le tama ore ainga.
Pa te tu la vole tal fo voucher mo le foi au nang fo pa tai. Ma lo la le tam pai.
Pa tai tala fo voucher. Teki tala fo voucher.
Malo e tau lava, and a warm Pacific greetings to all of our viewers today. It's a bit windy and it is cold here in Auckland. We are still in lockdown, but it is Tongan Language Week, and it's pretty good, right, Claudia? So happy Tongan Language Week, and again a shout out to the Ministry of Pasifika people, for this initiative that they've put together, so that we can acknowledge and celebrate our Tongan community. But it's been an awesome celebration. We do apologize that we had a slight change in our schedule for today for our lockdown timetable. We'll let you into a little bit of a secret. Claudia and I have been working behind the scenes with the Blue Wave team with some training, and it's to not only benefit us as a team, but it's to benefit our community, so that we can be bring more to the table for our daily shows, and also the work that our Blue Wave umbrella offers to our amazing community. But Claudia,
Definitely.
how are you?
I'm good, and it's day 5 into Tongan Language Week. So malo elele, everyone, and I hope that everyone's been practicing their Tongan phrases. And if you guys are, send us a video of yourself saying some words in Tongan and send it to the Blue TV Messenger, and your video might actually feature on one of our podcasts. It's just a way for the community to get involved. But it's been great this week. I think the sun is just starting to come out here in my house, so it's getting a little bit warmer.
It is. And look, going back on what Claudia's mentioned, it's really, really awesome to see Facebook has been flooded with so many Tongan phrases. And I wanted to also say a massive shout out to Clendon Kids as well, and just to the umbrella itself in the organization, because they've been putting up some really good videos, and I've actually learned a few phrases from Mele, who's been helping me, and she actually made Ortei the other day to celebrate and honor Tongan Language Week. So today I've got three words that I wanted to share with everyone to celebrate Tongan Language Week, and the first one is mali mali. So mali mali means smile, and it's probably one of my favorite Tongan words today, because Claudia, when we tune in every day, our audience always makes us mali mali, so makes us smile. Hopefully I use it in the right way. And the other one, I love it. And the other word that comes to mind when we do tune in, and we see everyone, our audience, is mafana, which means warm. Our community who continue to show love and support, just like our sponsors, and I'll quickly do a shout out for them using this the term mafana, which means warm. So it's always nice when our sponsor shows that kind of love. It's that warmth that helps us get through every single day. So a massive shout out to Ngā Whionga Whaimalo Alan Stowers of Pacific Easy. Of course, so if you are looking for ways to send money over to Samoa, you can still do it in lockdown. Send it through direct transfer, because Samoa needs you here in New Zealand, wherever you are. So send that love back. And also Pacific 40. They are still available online, their services, so check it out. Of course, Malta or Samoa, they're in Samoa, so if you are driving around and you need to do a quick stop, you can do that with our awesome team there at Malta or Samoa. Of course, Say Oriana here in Mangele, you can look flash during lockdown, so order everything online. Makanet, Say Oriana, the Pacific Business Hub. There's so many of you. We just want to say thank you very much. And my last Tongan word for today, sorry, bear taking up all the time as always, is ofa atu. So, and that means much love, and much love to all of our audience that tunes in every single day and shows us so much love. So ofa atu, everyone. But that's
definitely. No, definitely. And thank you so much to everyone that is tuning in. There is a little bit of conversation going on at the moment in the chats between Mele and Teresa over Mela's otai that she made the other day. I won't read out the conversation, but I'm just going to say that I'm sure the otai tasted amazing. And Mela, if you could make it for me after lockdown, I would love that. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I do have a very quick COVID update. And again, thank you again to Ryan from the Blue Wave team who's put together this graphics for us. Good news today, there was only 13 new cases in the community of Auckland. So well done, everyone, for staying in your bubbles. You know, without everyone's help, we would not be here. So thank you so much. And please continue staying in your bubbles. We are still in alert level 4, but just hang in there for a little bit longer and we should be able to get takeaways soon, because honestly, I'm craving KFC so much and I'm getting so jealous of all these videos from my friends outside of Auckland that are just eating takeaways. So guys, just hang in there in alert level 4 just for a little bit longer. So 13 new cases in Auckland, which means a total of 868 community cases linked to the current outbreak, 31 cases in hospital, 5 in intensive care or high dependency units, and 3 cases on ventilators. So well done, everyone, for following the rules. And honestly, just hang in there for a little bit longer and we should all be able to have a nice, juicy drumstick from KFC. Honestly, I'm just craving it so badly.
Yeah, look, a massive, well done, Auckland. You know, I know it's really, really difficult. And if you are tuning in, you are from Auckland, please, you know, if you do need any kind of assistance, there are various organizations out there that are willing to help or have you know, the platform to be able to help you with food. I put my hand up, you know, massive shout out to an organization here in South Auckland who actually delivered some parcels here. So thank you so much for that. Don't worry, don't be ashamed to reach out for help. It is a difficult time for our aingas. So please, it's not just you. I've asked for help as well. So please don't be embarrassed. There is funding available around and, you know, organizations that's willing to help us during this difficult time. But we do have a special guest today, Claudia, and I thought, well, you know, before we bring our guests on, I think it might be safe to just kind of read a little bit of an insight before we bring the guest on. So today we do have a very special guest, a community leader as well, and Finau Glen Tuala joins us today. I'll quickly read a short bio before we bring him on after the break, but Finau Glen Tuala has taught science and biology in secondary schools in New Zealand and the United Kingdom for over the past 20 years, and is also passionate about our community and development. He has served in the governance level and several boards of schools and NGOs. He has a diverse business interest across different sectors and a wealth of experience and expertise in building organization capacity and capability with a focus on serving communities. He holds the orator title Finau from Safa'atoa, Lefanga, and Pule from Fasito'otai, and also connects to Pea, Matauta, Lefanga, as well as Ngone and Salilolonga Sava'i in Western Samoa. And look how terrible it is for a Samoan speaking girl to get that so wrong. But that is a little bow of Glen, and we are honored and privileged to have him on the show. So if you have any questions with regards to any of our community organizations, please don't go anywhere. We've got Glen straight after the break.
So excited.
Tau tua ma le au nanga remote tau sa mo service station nei tona i matu. Ma tau teu tuina lo ta vale ma le tele ni sio matu au nanga ise ise. Ai le ngata foile Mātou te sea ke ina fo ilo tāwani. Mātou te sea pala ia fo isuau, mō lau tāwani. A fai fo vai pa o lousa. A wala te poli, mātou te sea pala ia fo ea mō lau tāwani. Molo no posila fia. Mua, ta pea lau ta vale pea utu. Nua, ta pea lau telefoni i tai me utu ina lau ta vale. Male vaenga mulu. Mana tua fo. E matua i fasa aina, lo tau makitapa ai no fuanga whapengi. Ota Samoa. Ole mota mo Samoa. Mado te fia e au na pea mo o Samoa. Paftaile fia mai. We'll see you again. God bless.
O le whaamama awenga le nei ma le Pacific Isi, mo au tupe whaamumoli Samoa, a o tapuni ai ofisa mo le whaawa yaso. Whaonga nei lola na wa unanga forward ta ua, o le direct transfer. A whai wa yesa o membership card ma e whaonga ina le internet banking, o le matua i whaingo fia lava. Na o le tipose mai lava lau se eleni mato account, o na whaatino leo la foina o lau se eleni mo a inga i Samoa. E ia inga i tahu na whaamalia ina. Mo nisi whaamatalanga i le nei au unanga fo. Wala au le telefoni o walu se lau o tasi o nono. Po le lua fitu ono fitu iwa fitu wha. Pe text mai fo ilo suafa i le valu tolu o.
Aloha lele and talofa lava, and welcome back to Pea and Claudia BluTable Podcast today. Thank you so much for everyone that keeps commenting in the comment section. We love hearing from you. I'm gonna say hi to, I guess, my new friend Lem. He said, say hi to me when you're ready. I'm ready now. So hi Lem. Thank you so much for tuning in today. But we have a very special guest, and we are so honored to have on the show Finau Glen, who has a Bachelor of Science, a graduate diploma, and is the Executive Director of Lalaga Pasifika. So thank you so much, Glen, for joining us today. How are you today? I want to ask first.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Very well.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for being with us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. Mono whatalo whatu, ma ofalo whatu ile. Pa i o le lua, vaase lua. Lau sunga Claudia, whape foi lau sunga Pea. Whaftai molnea wanoa whapitoa. O tu umaile i lo nei tangate e tātou talanoa ai. E mai se foi le mai mo mai o le tātou atu nuu. Ma lo le soi fu manuia, ma lo foi le langi e mama. And also, malo tau mau e hoati ni, malo e lelei, happy language, Tongan Language Week. And as we all celebrate the theme about Tongan Language Week, I'm sure we'll get into that later about enriching Aotearoa with holistic education. And I bring that up because it's exactly what you are both doing, providing a forum for us to further ourselves and educate ourselves. But no, as you said, my name is Finau Glen Tuala. My father is Kuala Kamalilangi Seomangu Whaavale Filimongi. He comes from the village of Sawhakoa in Lefanga and Salilolonga and Sangonga and Salafai. My mum is Taimalie Siaula Inga, and she's from the mighty village of Matautu in Lefanga, and also from the Kaulanga in Apia. So that's my parents. I was born here. I'm married to Soteria, and we have 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. So it's a happy lockdown house here in the heart of East Auckland in Glen Innes. So thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be with you both.
Look, no, Glenn, it's what an honor it is to have, a community leader here during lockdown because, as we do struggle, you're here to provide information while we're on lockdown so that when we are out of lockdown, the information is there for our community so that we can, help and assist. So thank you so much for making your time available. I know that even in lockdown, that someone like yourself is still quite busy because you run a massive organization as well. But look, we'll get started. Glenn, can you please share with our viewers what Lalaga Pasifika is and why was it formed?
Sure. So Lalaga Pasifika, as the term alludes to, is comes under the umbrella group of the Lalaga Foundation, and the Lalaga Foundation started back in 2015, and it was formed as part of the ministry of the late Reverend Elder Leite Setifano and Le Tina Ya Lealofi, and their ministry in terms of early childhood education space under TOTRA. So it started some time ago now, and it has grown over the last sort of 6 years or so. We saw a need in the communities to provide support and advocacy for our Pacific families across different sectors, so housing, health, education, financial literacy, and those sorts of things, because there wasn't a connected or joined up solution that we saw in our own community across sectors, so a multi-sector response to some of the challenges that we face in the Pacific community. So that's where it started from. Ria and I, it has been a side hustle. As you know, we also have our early childhood education centres that we're running in community kids. But I would say that, the community kids work is the work that we do with our heads. The Lalaga Pasifika work is the stuff we do with our hearts, and it's always been it's like a ministry to us to try and serve our communities. So that's sorry.
No, I was going to say I love that. I'm just wondering where you get all this time to do everything that you're doing. And Lalaga Pasifika is such a beautiful name, and it rolls off the tongue. But I did read on the website that there is a beautiful meaning behind it as well. So if you could kind of give an explanation on that too.
Yeah, sure. The term Lalaga is a common term. It's a term that's familiar to us as Pacific people. Lalanga or raranga in Te Reo means to weave. And so we saw it as being an opportunity at multiple levels to weave together sort of the social fabric that contributes to strong and resilient communities. Because as I said, there didn't seem to be a one-stop shop or a whole holistic, I suppose, solution. There were a lot of sort of piecemeal service delivery. So there'll be health providers that focus on Pacific people. There'll be social services that focus on Pacific communities and families. There'll be sort of housing as well, or actually not so much in housing. So Lalaga Pasifika that concept came naturally to us, but it's not a new concept. Obviously, we know the importance as Pacific people of the skill of being able to weave together, not just in practical terms. We all grow up knowing how, a placemat or an ako or a hat, those things have been weaved together by somebody's hands. And I mean, even if you go back to our island homes, we see a fale or a house and how intricate the skill is of being able to weave. And so we wanted to bring that into community development and just have a facilitating role in being able to say, connect this service to this family who really needs it. Because what we saw was there was a lot of barriers, cultural and language barriers that stopped our people from participating in some of the programs that would have really helped them. And so we thought it's our role and our duty as the children of the migration. Our parents came here for a reason. So we need to use our time. It's our time to try and move the needle forward, and with the hope and dreams that our children will then, in the world that they come to inherit, will be able to move it forward even further, and so on. So, yeah, to be honest, it was a bit of a concern that some of our generation were sort of falling through the gaps. Maybe not like our parents. Some of our parents were able to come here and buy their own homes and set up and find work. And yet some of us who had the New Zealand education in the land of milk and honey were struggling, and so how come, we shouldn't be moving backwards, we should be moving forwards. It's that's what we're thinking. So that's where Lalaga, the term, came from, and it aligns with some of the overall government programs. Ministry of Pacific Peoples in 2018 put out the Lalaga Fo goals about creating thriving and prosperous and resilient Pacific community. So I think we're all on the same page, and I think we all have a part to contribute. But what I see is that those sort of high-level goals that government puts out and that government agencies put out, we have to bring it and customize it to our own communities, and make it fit in, because we all have different dynamics that happen within our own hoods. And ours just happens to be here in Tamaki, Glen Innes, Point England, and Panmure in East Auckland, where Bea's originally from. But then she saw the light and went out to Rewa, because I'm originally from Rewa hard, but no, I've been here for some time. So yeah, that's our whole Lalaga Pasifika concept.
Beautiful.
Oh, man, I really love that, Glenn. But you're right. I think a lot of us, there are so many barriers, and I think us New Zealand-born Kiwis, I always go off topic, and I do apologize, Claudia. We encountered during a formal that we attended, myself, Claudia, and the team, where Tina, Tina actually stood up and she challenged some of our community leaders. She really stood up and challenged them, because they come here because of a better future, but we, some of the community leaders, stop us from those blessings that the government have for us. And what you're doing is perfect, because like myself, I didn't even know that some of these services and funding existed to enable our Pasifika community to flourish the way that they should, because I think there was also an interview on TV NZ 1 News last night, where someone actually expressed that because of the type of the way we were raised and we were brought up, it's normal and it's common for us that when someone of a higher status tells us this is what you need to do, that's exactly what we do. As our Pacific community, that's what we do. And I love that you've put this forward, because there's some of us that, even though we're born in New Zealand, and it's really nice to see that, our parents, because you not only have this program available, but it helps bridge that gap as well. So I just wanted to add that in there, because even for myself as a New Zealand born Samoan, I still struggle to kind of find that direction. So thank you so much, Finau, for this awesome organization that you guys have there as well. So I know Claudia's got a few other questions, but Lalaga Pasifika has also had a lot of massive impact within our community, which is including the Lalaga community support, Lalaga community housing, health solutions. But can we just go through and just discuss the community support and what this covers, please, Finau?
Sure, and just to your point about our generation of New Zealand-born PIs, we have to take up the calling as well, on behalf of our parents, because we do have the skills and we were taught how to put on the different hats and advocate and stand in that gap for our parents. I think the the biggest skill that I think you can learn is how to write and how to express and how to articulate what you are trying to propose or what change that you're trying to propose, because you have the government departments and government agencies, and they hold the resources to be able to empower us to do things. But there's a gap of trying to bridge that we're trying to constantly bridge, that we're trying to put it into their language and translate it into their speak, but also community facing. We're also trying to translate it into our parents' mother tongue and into our Pacific community. So we have to stand in the middle of that and try to do a two-way translation type thing. And I think that's really important for us. But as you say, we've been trying to stand up Lalaga Pasifika for the last 6 years. It's not been an easy journey. It's been a bit of a slow burn. Right back to in 2016, August 2016, we hosted a Tamaki Pasifika housing whānau, because Tamaki is an area that is undergoing a lot of redevelopment, regeneration. There's a lot of housing development that's happening in the community. And so we thought, someone has to help our Pacific families to try and see what are the opportunities there, but also what are the supports that are needed for our Pacific families. So we brought the community together, and then also brought together some of the local NGOs and council-controlled organizations to try and get the information to our people. And it was hard. It was hard because it was kind of like a mismatch. They were talking all this technical speak, and our mamas and papas were coming in here saying, they couldn't. It was so it was really difficult. But from there we continued to try and find opportunities. And to your point also, I think we have to take responsibility as well as the community. It's not good enough for us to sit back as community leaders and just say, we're missing out. And my heart goes out to Tuala, whose story appeared on One News yesterday, because that's the gap that we're talking about. And there's so many of us who are trying to fill that gap, but I think we just got to keep working together. Lalaga community. So we sort of, the best way to solve a difficult and complex problem is to break it into pieces. So we decided to break it into Lalaga community, Lalaga housing, Lalaga health solutions, and even Lalaga enterprise, because that side of the work is really important. So about Lalaga community was just about connecting with other community leaders, other community groups, trying to provide a Pacific lens into the work the services that are being provided for our families, trying to let our families know about what's available to them, what supports and services are available to them. And so as an example, at the lockdown last year, we were able to work together with some of our local whiwhiao, local churches, and distribute food boxes. And we've also been able to do that again this year. But we found that the key is collaboration. No man is an island, no islander is an island, as they say. So we have to work together. So we try to work alongside the marae, our local marae, and also the different collectives of groups that are doing so much awesome work. It's always better together. So Lalaga community is just that community sort of social service side of our work. And then we looked at other bits and pieces. So we broke it up into housing, health, and enterprise as well.
Man, that's awesome. I don't know how you find the time for it.
No.
It's like it does help. And I know that, I'm gonna go back to the collaboration, because I know that in the industry that myself and Claudia are also in the Blue Wave team, it is all about collaboration for our people. So, I commend you for that. Gary, sorry, Finau, sorry.
Sorry, Ruth.
Gary. Gary does the other work, the spiritual work. Sorry, sorry, Finau. I'm sure everyone's watching. Go, yeah, favorite. But I take my hat off to you, because it's a very, and for you to honestly say that it's been 6 years since you've, tirelessly worked behind the scenes to get this up and running, and still doing that. I think it's really important, because I've seen it. I've been blind to it because I've always worked in the corporate world, that I just kind of like disconnected myself with our community. And I saw it recently when Tina actually challenged some of our leaders, because you're right, we need to bridge that gap, and this is awesome. So I know Claudia's got her few questions that she wants to ask, so I'll hand it over to Claudia.
I just want to say we have Felicity and Moses in the chat saying to you, Pea, who is Gary?
Presbyterian.
But honestly, Glenn, I am just blown away by the amount of community work that you do. And I mean, there are 24 hours in a day, but you seem to make it seem like there's just endless amount of time, honestly. And my hat goes off to you. It's just absolutely amazing. But can you also tell us a little bit about Lalaga Enterprises, because that is including employment and business, and I hear it's going to launch shortly. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny that we don't talk about it enough. I think as Pacific people, our relationship with money, and how as we grow up, we often don't have enough of it, and it's always the cause of family arguments, and our parents. I just remember our parents always worrying about money and how are we going to make ends meet. But also, from a cultural perspective, our cultural obligations and fulfilling our roles and responsibilities in our families. So that's always been you can't talk about housing without talking about financial well-being. To be honest, you can't even talk about health without talking about it, because it's so central to, everything sort of works together. And so it was important that we looked at Lalaga community, okay, but then how are we going to move forward as a group, as families? How are we going to help families to move forward financially and give them financial independence, to increase their financial literacy? So we looked at it from we kind of try to look at everything from a business perspective, because at the end of the day, if you can't make ends meet, and then you can't really give and pass on to your family. So Lalaga Enterprises is more about pathways to employment, trying to encourage our young people into employment pathways, working alongside other providers in our local community who are promoting youth employment pathways. Also fostering entrepreneurship, trying to see if people have business ideas, and if they and how to start up a business, how to bring an idea from a business plan into execution. But then just in general, looking at that financial well-being, how do we become resilient financially, so that when we go through things like lockdowns, we're not left with no money or no resources to do the basics. So just taking it all the way back to what are our basic needs, and how do we cater for those needs. And we're as New Zealand born, we walk in different worlds. And when I was growing up, I remember going to school and mixing with my Palangi friends and Sanger friends, and seeing that they had trust funds and share portfolios and all this, and I'm sitting there going, I was lucky to get lunch, my spaghetti sandwiches today. But so you kind of think, so I thought, okay, we take that back home and think, okay, so how do they have the surplus money that they can then invest? Or how is it that their dads can come and pick them up, or mums can come and pick them up because they run businesses and things like that? So I think we've been here long enough as a Pacific peoples, and I think as a community we have to really raise the bar financially for ourselves, and become independent, and have that self-determination of having options. Because sometimes it's not always good. When you talk about money, people are like, all he talks about is money, but it's really important, because it is we don't learn it at school. And I know because I'm as a teacher, we don't teach financial well-being, especially it's getting better now. But I think when we were growing up and coming through school, we never learnt about managing debt or savings or investments and stuff. We were just learning our the normal school subjects. So Lalaga Enterprise looks to try and assist our communities with that side of things, and we are looking at going towards supporting home ownership for our people. So soon we are going to be able to launch online a Your Home program, where it's a financial literacy program come progressive or home ownership. So as long as we all have a plan in terms of how we get onto the property ladder, that would be awesome if we could achieve that through those types of programs.
Man, everything you've just said, it just gets me so excited that you are focusing on financial literacy and home ownership, because it is really key, especially in this time and age. Like, it's really important that we do know and understand how to manage money and debt and all of that. And honestly, I think, Glenn, just like Ben and I, we are both so blown away. We have Moses commenting in the chat, and he said, "I didn't know you were interviewing Dwayne Johnson today. Awesome work."
Thank you.
But you know what? I'm so sorry. But since Moses said Dwayne Johnson, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go back to the financial side of it. And I hope my dad's watching. Hi Dad, if you are. Can you with this part of the organization, do you touch on the wha'alawe part? Because I know for a New Zealand born Samoan, I'm quite obedient when it comes to wha'alawe. So for me, I look inga, kia mea singo, lima whenga, if I will fear, I very lima whe. But growing up in New Zealand, like you mentioned, we don't trust funds. But can you imagine if we kind of dialed down that Samoa? Do you kind of I'll have a trust fund, but and no disrespect in anywhere, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to our culture, but did you kind of have like a program where you can assist to bridge that with our parents who have come here and our New Zealand born children? Like, do you have something like part of that program?
You're going to get me in trouble, eh?
I'm just curious because
yeah, thank you. Well, you're right. And the thing is, it exists in all facets of life, but when it comes to money, it's kind of underlined when it comes to that generational conflict or that cultural conflict, and it's been talked about a lot. We're growing up in New Zealand, and we still have to. We still obey our parents, as you said. We still respect and obey our parents when it's time to contribute to family wha'alawe and things like that. And I think that's what's missing from the mainstream financial wellbeing programs, is that they talk about putting away an emergency fund, but they don't know the sizes and the scale of our emergencies, and that they happen every week. And so that emergency fund is basically a wha'alawe fund. It's how we contribute to our families and how we support financially our parents. But so as New Zealand born, we have to talk about it. We have to think about it clearly. We have to have a plan in place for it, and also for our children, for the sake of our children, because are we going to pass these responsibilities on to our kids? But I hear what you're saying, Pea. We all go through that awkward moment when mum or dad says, "Oh, yeah, olela whaipo, yeah, your cousin from somewhere that we don't even know. Oh, okay, so how much each, and we still do that even up into our 40s and 50s, because that's how we were raised. And but you're right. I think we need to ask the question about, okay, at what point is that detracting from our ability to move us forward, and if there's a better, smarter way around it. And that's a tough question. That's a cultural question that we all have to deal with.
I just want to know if it's something that moving forward that you can I'm not asking but just because I know the essence of giving, and it's really important. And I've seen what do you call it? I've seen how beautiful it is when people are ole alofa, because that's what it is. To us, money, kupe it's alofa, but I know that for myself, if there was a little bit of direction, and I'm not saying to stop giving, no, but some kind of.
I'm just going to warn you that your dad is watching. It got commented your dad's watching.
Okay.
Oh.
But I know that this kind of giving does hold, such a sacred thing in our ainga, because I've seen it. I've seen it when I've traveled overseas. The giving back of what my dad has done, but just kind of for us here in New Zealand, just a little bit of education around it, maybe. But anyways, we'll just stop talking about that. Next question, Claudia, sorry.
No, I'm just going to read a comment from Fala. And Fala, if I get you into trouble, I am so sorry. But she's going to read it anyway. Fala commented saying, Pea was supposed to say on Finau, oh, Gary on with the good work. Gotcha.
There we go.
Oh, you're in trouble twice now, Pea. Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
You better go home.
Thank you so much for that, Finau. I know it was a difficult question to ask, and so I do apologize for putting you on the spot.
But I'll just answer real quick. So all I was thinking is that we have to have a plan. So just a plan, and in that plan, we have to prepare for the fact that we have extra layers of responsibility over and above what maybe our friends do. And so what we like to do is start at the end and work backwards. So we need to say, okay, if in 5 years' time our goal is to get a house, okay, so let's see what that house is going to cost. What do we need? What's our plan to get there? Because you can't achieve anything if you don't measure it and plan for it. So that's all we're saying. We don't have a magic wand to say, we're not going to do whalawalavas, because as you said, alofa and the giving of gifts and giving of money is synonymous in our cultures. We it's one and the same. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, we are getting very interesting comments around I love it in the chat, and I'm just kind of wondering whether I should say it or not. But we do have some people that do agree with you. And there was one funny comment that came through that said, "Our I love it. I'm not going to name names. Our I love it doesn't end even if we go in the 6-foot hole."
This is true.
But, Glenn, honestly, I am just, I'm sorry, I keep saying this, but I'm just so outstanding and just very impressed by everything that you do. And it doesn't end there, because you also have formed some clubs, and we'll start with the Mamas and Papas Club in Tamaki. Can you tell us a little bit about the purpose behind that club?
Sure. So what we felt was that there's a lot of programs and things and supports for our young people. And there's not much for our elderly people, our mamas and our papas, our parents, who are mostly retired. And we just found, especially during lockdown last year, that they were quite isolated at home, and we're missing that fellowship and that social interaction. So we are part of the Tamaki Pacific Islanders Presbyterian Church, led by Reverend Elama and Tina Emily Maya. And as part of our church, we decided, let's get a Mamas and Papas Club together, where they can come together weekly, all of the elderly folk in our community, and put on programs for them. They play games, they do devotions, they do a bit of fitness, and they also just like to hang out. And this is open to our Cook Island, Samoan, Niuean, just to all cultures. So it's not just a specific ethnicity. And I think what we were able to do this year, because a lot of them were quite anxious about COVID-19 and getting their vaccinations, and it goes back to what we said about owning the solutions for our own community, because we saw that there was a lot of them were needing transport, and so we were able to connect to the ADHB and hire a bus, basically, and we all jumped on the bus and went down to Otara Vaccination Centre, and we were able to get both vaccinations done. And so that was a huge relief for our mamas and papas, because they it just took away that fear around the vaccine. And it was, everyone has different views on vaccination, but those of us who we were able to support were keen to get protection against the virus. And so we were so lucky to do that before this new Delta variant outbreak. And so it's just things like that we think is important for our mamas and papas.
I love that. And like, I know it's not happening right now because we are in lockdown, but when we are in alert level 1, possibly level 2, for all our mamas and papas that are watching at the moment, how can they join this club?
So our dream is for there to be a mamas and papas club in every community in Aotearoa. So we're Mamas and Papas Club Tamaki.
Yeah.
You guys can be Mamas and Papas Club Manurewa or, Otara, because that's what we would love, whatever programs, the more programs there can be for our elderly folk, they deserve it. They've worked hard all these years, and now that they're at home and they're in their twilight years, we should still continue to give them fellowship opportunities. So it's open to everyone, but our one is running out of Tamaki PIC in Glen Innes, and it's every Wednesday once we go back to level 1, and we look forward to connecting again with our group.
I love that. And if that wasn't enough, I know you also have another club, and that is called the Mana Ako Club. Now, can you please tell us a little bit about that one?
Sure. So that's a after-school study support centre that we started at Point England School. We're very, very blessed to be able to partner with Point England School in bringing that to our community. It is Mana Ako Club. It's about empowering the learners, the Ako process for our sort of year 5 to 8 students. Once again, there was a lot of mentoring programs at college level for our year 9 and to 13 students, but we wanted to come down a little bit lower to that cohort before and see if we could provide academic mentoring, even get them thinking about, what are some of their future pathways that they might want to take, teaching them how to learn, teaching them how to study, and just working alongside the staff of the school. So it's a real partnership. Our goal is to improve their literacy and numeracy levels, so that when they get their report after being at Mana Ako, there is a quantifiable improvement and progress in terms of their education. So Ria and I and my wife and I are both teachers, so it was something that we're still passionate about, and it's just another opportunity to do it. And once again, our dream is that there'll be a Mana Ako Club in every primary, intermediate school, where the community can come in and partner with the school and try and help deliver. So just as a point, as part of Mana Ako Club, we have past pupils of Point England School who help facilitate it, and there's a role model sort of mentoring role that they play, and also one of the qualified teachers we've been really blessed to have her facilitate and lead that kaupapa. So that's cool. We enjoy that.
Oh man, I am like once again, and I'm
blown away.
To all of our viewers that have tuned in, but we've got I know that the Mama and Papa's Club, can you please quickly set one up in Rewa, please? I'm asking for a friend. Because it is important. I just wanted to go back how important the Mama and Papa's Club is. You are right. It's we don't have that, and we don't have this kind of program available, because when this popped up, I actually went, oh, interesting. And it's good because you are right. Our Pasifika parents do feel isolated because they're now retired, not working. Their children are busy, e.g. me. So I would love to have a Mamas and Papa's Club, please. The next one, Manurewa, so we can get Papa over here into a club ASAP. But just sorry, but awesome work on the Mana Ako program. Glenn, Finau, sorry, as the executive director of Lalaga Pasifika, you've given us an insight of what your vision is, but what is your vision for your whole organization? Is there, for the whole organization? Sorry.
Yeah, so the Lalaga Foundation, which is the umbrella group, look, our vision is just that that this work that we're putting in now, we understand that while we have the energy and while we have the time, that we want to lay the foundations for some of this work. The most important thing and the point of difference is that we can provide a cross-sector, multifaceted solution to the complex issues that our Pacific communities have. We see that there's that is a real need in the market at the moment. We have, like I said, social service providers, health providers, but we want to build from the ground up a whole holistic solution. And I didn't touch on housing, but that was part of our journey, a huge part of our journey over the last 6 years. We actually were working with Habitat for Humanity and looking at possibly becoming a community housing provider. And so that work has been ongoing, and in the background it's really difficult, but there is a huge need for more Pacific-led community housing providers because we're so overrepresented in the social housing space, but also so that we can encourage our people to move up the spectrum and go into affordable rental and home ownership, which is always the goal. So in terms of our vision, like I said, we would like to be able to sow the seeds now of an organization that is able to provide cross-sector support for our Pacific families, for all Pacific. It's hard because it's not a one-size-fits-all. When they talk about Pasifika, within that, Samoans, Tongans, Niue, Fijians, we all have our own different nuances and needs and wants. But so it's a big, huge issue that we're trying to contribute to, but we're committed, and what we would like to be eventually is a self-funded cross-Pacific multi-sector NGO, because what we would like is that we don't have to go cap in hand looking for funding all the time, and that our programs can be long-term without the need to continually look for resources. So that's the goal.
I love that. Honestly, I absolutely love your passion for our community and your drive to actually do the absolute best that you can for our community. And I just want to read a comment that Felicity wrote. She said, "Community heroes Ria and Glenn always giving back to our community by serving with gladness. And she's absolutely right. And that brings me to my next question. How can we, the community, help you to support this vision of yours?
Look, as I said, we've been purposely quite sort of under the radar about what we're trying to do, because we're conscious of the fact that we don't want to step out when we didn't have the capacity or the capability to deliver. So we're still building. If we were a business, we'd still be a startup. I'll put it that way. How can the community help? Well, we would just like people to make use of the opportunities wisely that we are fortunate enough to provide. But also, just as Pea said, we're open to collaborating with whoever. If there's a group that wants to start a Mamas and Papas Club in a different community, well, we would love to work alongside people to get things stood up. Because I think there's a lot of people doing awesome work, and I think that if we start to collaborate more, so yeah, that's our goal. That's how you can support. We have. If you want to get in touch with us, the email is info@lalaga.org.nz. That's Lalaga. We don't spell it the Tongan way but maybe we should for this week. But Lalaga, lalaga.org.nz. So info@lalaga.org.nz. Or we're on www.lalanga.org.nz. And also we are really active on social media. So Mamas and Papas Club have their own Facebook page. Mana Ako has their own Facebook page, and Lalanga Pasifika has its own. So our goal eventually is that these things become bona fide programs and stand alone. And that would be the dream, that we could, that Mana Ako Club can go off and be an independent, standalone work program for our community. Okay.
Oh man, Glenn, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you speak. Sharing your experience, sharing your knowledge. You bring a wealth of knowledge, obviously, to the program. As mentioned, it is difficult. It's a very difficult field that you are trying to cover, and the reach it is. I know myself that our people they're amazing. They are awesome, an awesome community. They show so much love, but at the same time can be difficult, stubborn to deal with. So the dedication that you have and the passion for our community, thank you so much for paving the way for the next generation and for generations to come. So Finau and Ria, and also the Tamaki PIC. And also I just wanted to say hi to Paula as well, because Paula has tuned in. Paula, I know that you also play a massive and important role in everything that the Sesi Whanos also do. So thank you so much for that. But your contribution, Glenn, I know your hard work will never be will go unnoticed. So before we wrap up, I know we've already gone past our time, but did you have any like words of encouragement or something that you wanted to share? Because I know that you're walking encyclopedia, I think. you know everything. So did you've been to the UK, you've taught there, that's pretty massive. So I don't know, with your life experience, do you have some comforting words for our viewers today?
Thanks, Pea. No, I think just being aware of the times that we're in, with the pandemic and just the craziness of where we find ourselves. Who would have thought, even a couple of years ago, and it creates a lot of fear. So I suppose the quote that comes to mind is a quote by Robin Roberts, who said that when fear knocks, tell faith to go and answer. And so I think, we're always a people of faith, and when we use faith to answer the door, when we're not sure and we're fearful of what tomorrow might bring. That's when we, as people of faith, can engage that faith and keep our faith in God to know. I mean, at the end of the day, we as Christian people, we know the end. We know the end of the story. Faith wins in the end. So that's my encouragement for our listeners and everyone today. Thank you for this opportunity, and wish you all well in your work. Thank you for your continued service as well. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Glenn. I'm just going to say it again. You have left a lasting impression on our viewers as well as myself and Pea. Ciola's actually said, thank you, I'll be in touch. And that might just be for a Mamas and Papas Club in Manirewa. So you never know. They'll be actually really cool, Ciola. And I also just want to read a lovely comment from Patrick, who also has his podcast called For the Boys Podcast. It's actually on tonight at 8 p.m. It streams live, so just head over to their Facebook page. But this is a really nice message for myself and you, Pea. He said, props to you, ladies. Your work in spreading the love and shining the spotlight onto these sectors and businesses help our people connect and network. Much alofas, ladies. So thank you so much, Patrick. That's actually a very lovely message to read. And we have Felicity saying, Malo apito Claudia, Pea and Glenn, another great talanoa. And Paula says, love you, Pea. So honestly, I think you've just brought out all the love and all of yours today, Glenn. Thank you so much.
You definitely have, Glenn, once again, for making your time available. We know that you've added so much value to this talanoa, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see, what you have in store for the future, for this, because I just can't wait, because I'm sure the community is going to be 100% behind you. But we wish you all the very best. I know that we've already gone a little bit over our time, but we do have a little competition that we have to wrap up with. So Glenn, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our viewers that have tuned in. We're going to go into a quick little break, but if for those of our viewers that have been keeping up with Pea and Claudia, Blue Wave team have put together an initiative so that we can stay in our bubbles, and we've had weekly competitions, and this week we have the King of the Grill. So please stay tuned. We find out.
Yes, sorry, Bear. Because we have run out of time today, we're actually going to leave the barbecue competition for next week, Thursday. It's been such a great chat with you, Glenn. And also, I'm just going to put it out there, and you might want to make a note of this. Auntie Paula has been nominated to be the entertainer for Mamas and Papas Club. So maybe write down and get her details, because they'll be great.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't realize, I didn't get the memo. Obviously, I get so distracted sometimes. So thank you once again to all of our viewers who have tuned in. Don't forget Asiata's show this evening. And also tune in tomorrow. We have a very special guest. Claudia, while we've got some viewers, did you want to quickly advise everyone, or should we just leave it for a surprise tomorrow?
Do you know what I'm going to say? We have the beautiful Dr. Lucina on the show tomorrow. And if you kind of recognize the name, she is a very beautiful and very intelligent New Zealand bachelorette, previous bachelorette. So you probably recognize her from that TV show. And she is a legitimate doctor fighting behind the essential line workers line. So honestly, I'm so excited for tomorrow as well. So tune in tomorrow as well. But honestly, Glenn, it's been an amazing time just talking with you and just hearing about all these amazing things. And it's definitely kind of inspired me to do better and help more of the community. And also just a realization that there is so much that we can accomplish in 24 hours. So honestly, thank you to you and your beautiful wife.
Thank you, Finau. God bless everyone.
Too.
Squad, baby. Rex, J Sands.
Let's go.
Oh, say I'm say you are complete to me, I get you. By the way that you move and the way that you smile. Say, oh my Dorima, baby, you be giving your hand, I'll take you anywhere. You give me something that I never had. Cause you care, but about to me and the family. Say, why you waiting on me to talk to you? Yeah, I'ma listen what y'all say. Yeah, don't move out in the come here. Yeah, they on the layout, oh, dirty wine, girl, dirty wine. Yeah, say, tama in and not the fight to get out. Say,